Pelicans, they were like third.
Killing it.
They are under 500.
And then they lost Zion, and then all of a sudden it's crazy how much of a difference one player makes. And
they still have CJ McCollum, but Brandon Ingram was hurt too.
Yeah, but B.I.'s not that guy.
I mean, he's good as shit though.
He's not that guy.
He's 20 plus every night.
He's not that guy.
But he's 20 plus easy.
Yeah, I mean that's like Randall. He's 20 plus, but he's not that guy either.
But Randall's your best player, supposedly.
He's their second best.
Ingram's their third guy.
Yeah.
Zion's that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
He can't stay healthy.
Yep.
We're gonna clip this all.
Yeah.
He'll be super happy to talk about this on our podcast.
Yeah.
By the way, this is now a Pelicans podcast.
We just smacked him, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right.
We love that.
We took two of his best players. We took Randall from him, and then we took Josh Hart.
You didn't want Josh Hart. Josh Hart, if you're watching this, which I know you obviously are, Justin didn't want you.
Yo, what is up, fuckers? Welcome back to another episode with Pillar for Thriller. I'm Justin.
And I'm Romo, and we are here to talk through Infinity Pool with y'all today.
Whew! What
was that?
You got to let us know how you feel, because we're like this movie was
it was something
confusing.
I know it's a Cronenberg film.
What's that?
Brandon Cronenberg has like all these like body horror type movies, so that's kind of why I was like, this shit's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
I was telling you, I was like, there's gonna be something crazy that goes on in this movie, and I think we were right. There is something crazy and stuff crazy that goes on in this movie.
This movie's fucking wild. But before we get into it, today we're just gonna do a casual review on it. We're gonna let you know how we feel about it. But before we do, I'd like to shout out our peoples, man. I'll go and start with Hunt Junkies, Volante and Megan. What up? How y'all doing?
They are still, it's the off season for haunts and everything, but they are still doing stuff consistently.
Always.
So check out their page, check them out.
Yep.
Just kicking it. Our dog Brandon, still got the podcast, still got the clothing line, sneaker cleanup. This man also has his TikTok. It's blowing up as we speak, so go check out that. He's always looking scrumptious as a light skin on the TikTok.
Hey, man.
The maximum Riz Brandon has.
Yeah.
Max Riz.
Just drip everywhere, all the time.
Drip. He walks in, we're hanging out, doing nothing but slouching on the couch. This man dripped.
Dripped out.
Drip or drown.
Still don't know why you can't get bitches, though. But that's just, sorry.
That was just a stray. Oh my god.
Eric from He's Crafty, man. What's going on? We'd love to shout him out. He's always so supportive. Go check out his page. Yep. He's got videos on the regular as well.
Yeah. He inspired me. I've been trying to gain weight and get swole, and every time I do a chest press, I'm like, Eric Martinelli. Eric Martinelli. Yeah. Pressing that thing, because that man can swallow a t-shirt.
Yeah,
can swallow it.
Love that guy, man. So, and we're in the middle of working on a film with him right now too, so that'll be cool. Be on the lookout for that. And then Kosi Jude,
great design.
Great, man. Thank you for that.
And then this isn't it, but this is another one.
Yeah.
But this is Kosi.
Fire. You know how we always start our episodes.
It was damp February for me. I didn't do the dry January. My birthday's in January. I got a lot of other stuff that happens in January.
Is this your first time drinking this month?
No, this is damp. So I like Valentine's Day weekend, Super Bowl weekend.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I was
there was one other celebration I did it for some reason. I think it was that, and then now today. February's basically over. So
yeah. Super Bowl, that was fun.
Yeah, that was fun. I controlled myself. This guy was drunk within 30 minutes.
I went in there with a plan, and was to immediately just start drinking. So the first thing I did when I got there was just take 3 shots of tequila, back to back to back. It was a good time. Yeah,
I had to control myself. I couldn't. I was just casually sipping. Couldn't do that. Justin was having a time, but.
Chiefs money line.
Actually,
Big
Chiefs
time.
back in March. I had Chiefs in March.
Plus 850 at that time.
Bang.
I had it
Bang.
like the week before or some shit. But I had it and I won. Big time win for both of us.
Yes.
Anyway, let's chug our beers and get into this episode.
Yep, 2 Infinity Pool and 2 Pillar of Thriller.
Yes, sir. Oh.
I know people love hearing that on the audio.
Yeah.
Or they just hear this, and then you're going to hear like a few burps happen throughout the episode. Fantastic. I forgot how fun it is to chug a beer.
It's
Shock Top isn't like very chug friendly.
No, it's, you know what though? This is the first time I've drank since the Super Bowl, so.
Yeah.
I don't drink. I drink socially now.
Yeah, just socially, big grown-up guy over here.
Yeah. I don't really I don't like drinking on my own or anything like that anymore.
Yep. So, Infinity Pool. This movie is bonkers. This movie is crazy. Like you said, directed by Brandon Cronenberg. It's got, is it Mia Goth or Maya Goth?
I don't know, but she's.
I feel bad not knowing. I feel like I should. But we're gonna go.
Let me see if I can check.
Check it real quick because I want to pronounce it correctly during this episode.
I want to respect her.
Alexander Skarsgård, one of the also main characters. James Foster. Cleopatra Coleman plays M throughout the movie, which is James's partner. There's a lot of stuff to digest from this movie. Not the direction I expected from this film at all. I expected it to be kind of a people running rampant, doing all these crazy.
It's Mia. It is Mia.
Mia? Okay, good. Let me get that right. I expected it to be people like trying to live outside of the law, like trying to experiment with all these horrors that come with like robbing people, killing people, like all the stuff that is illegal. So I expected that, and then it also to be very psychedelic because you get that from the trailer. That didn't even prepare me for what this is.
Yeah, I didn't watch the trailer. I didn't know anything about this. Oddly enough, I was just at work one day and I wanted to watch something new.
Yeah.
And I was just looking up like things that are new, that came out. This was one of them. And then I saw Mia Goth. That had me excited because when I saw her in X.
Yeah.
So like it was one of those things, but I had no idea what I was in for. Not gonna lie, I'm gonna go ahead and start talking about like how I feel. I didn't like it. Like it was like nothing was scary. It didn't feel like a horror film. It was more suspenseful, thriller type movie for me. I was not scared one bit. I actually didn't feel like super invested in in James. It would be like the main character in that movie. I didn't really understand like half of what was going on for like the first 20-25 minutes of that movie. It just seemed like it was because it started out black. I don't know.
Like the scene with the windows closed and everything.
Yeah.
She just trying to hear the dialogue.
Yeah.
I thought the movie hadn't started.
Yeah.
For me.
And I was like, what's going on? I thought it was like some type of glitch or like, am I missing something? And then, but it was like about this couple who just went on vacation because this guy's a writer and he was trying to find some inspiration or whatever. And I thought it was just gonna be like kind of like old, like a vacation on the beach and then something horrific happens and then you see these people in masks and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be crazy. It was crazy. It wasn't the type of crazy that I was expecting. I was a little confuzzled, about for the first 25-30 minutes.
It's hard for you to invest when you're trying to still figure stuff out so far.
Yep, I agree. And then even when I finally got it, it still wasn't like that enticing for me. Like obviously I was watching and whatever, it was cool, but it was not. I don't think it was very. It just wasn't scary.
Yeah, I feel that.
And then watching these, like him getting off on watching himself get killed, like him and his friends or whatever. It was.
Yeah, that was really interesting how they approached that because I was building facts throughout the movie. I think I told you it took me over half of the movie to figure out what actually was happening. I thought there were so many psych trips. So the psychedelic horror piece of this reminded me of the Mandy trips with the Nicolas Cage movie. I don't know if you've seen that. That was one that's it's super trippy. But I feel like Alexander Skarsgård did a good job for what his role was. Mm-hmm. It's just it took me a lot longer than expected to realize, okay, Mia Goth has done this before. Like she's tried to find people at this resort, tried to like kind of get them to participate in this life of crime that really like the horror part of it is being killed and arrested in a foreign country where no one will know what happened to you. But the fact that there's this stuff happening, but there's also like clones being made of them.
Yep.
And then you're seeing that clone die off, and that's where the horror part of it, I guess, was lying, was watching this happen. And then I raised the question of, do you think it was the original person being killed off? So to get there, obviously, they had the crime that they committed. They hit the guy with their car.
Mm-hmm.
And that was why they're like, we have zero tolerance. Like, if we do anything wrong, we're dead. So that's why they couldn't call the police. But they go through all this stuff, being caught, going through, like, the hospital, like, or I guess the prison system and everything like that. And the hospital being, like, I guess where they clone people. I'm going to call it a hospital. That's what it looked like. But, like, do you think the clone is being killed off to show that, like, the guard at one point says, like, hey, tradition in this country is the two sons will kill you because you killed their father.
Which is what the son did.
Yes, which stabbed
him
him
to death, yep.
And then he's watching it. So is that a clone?
I always, like, that was one of the things, like, so that, like, for me, that was one of the questions, like, did the kid just not know that they were there watching? Like, did he just, also, why was the kid in a gown? Like, wow,
yeah.
What? Because, like, if you're gonna kill, like, and you're innocent, why are you part of the...
Or are they saying, like, hey, look, we can't, like, have you kill this person legally, so you are going to kill the original person, and what's going to be left standing of them is this clone that we have in their DNA. So they're going to go back, have watched this horror, and go back and can't... someone would think they're crazy if they said I was in a foreign country and I watched a kid kill my clone.
Yeah. Where were they?
I don't know.
Was it like Brazil or something?
I have no idea. We'd have to look that up where it was actually like supposedly the resort was set at.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's several clones of James throughout the movie.
Just weird because they thought like there was a point in there. So if you guys don't know by now, essentially what happens is they're in this country for vacation, and then if you commit a crime over there, you have the option to be killed yourself. Or if you have money, you pay the police, and then they clone you, and that clone gets killed in front of you.
You're basically rich enough to like get away with stuff.
Yeah. So the concept's dope because it's unique, right?
Yeah, and that's where I was trying to like figure out like what is like is it all because they're rich, or is it all because they need them to like be cloned and cover up the killing? Like that's what I'm trying to figure. I was trying to figure out.
Like there was a line in the movie from one of the part of the people who were like, I guess the cult or whatever. I don't really call it a cult, but their group.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
There was a line in there where the guy was like, "Isn't it scary? Because like you just wake up in this room and you don't know if they killed you or if they killed the clone."
That's what's scary.
Yeah.
That is what digesting that film actually freaked me out. Like if you woke up one day, saw yourself get killed, and you have all the memories you had before, but you're still in that space and you just woke up out like. And you're like, this was so real, like I felt pain, like all of that.
Yeah.
Like, is that so real? And we saw several instances of that. But to the point where, like, it almost felt like they were just... I feel like James felt that he cared what happened. Like, Mia Goth's character, Alba or
whatever.
Yeah, he...
her husband or whatever.
Yeah, they seemed like they just wanted to run rampant and then do all these crimes. They're like, we'll get out of it.
Yeah.
Because
we'll pay.
We'll be able to pay to get out of it. To the point where you even see everybody that's participating bent over a wood block and their throat is slit. So they die.
That part, by the way, I thought it was them this time.
Yes.
Because the way they made the scene was like, I want to make an example out of it. Like we're two.
Yeah.
Like, but it wasn't. It was just them. Like they all got off on it, and like how he got to that. By the way, for me, how James got to that point was also weird. I think the writing in this at this point was, I guess it wasn't cohesive for me at that point because it was like, first of all, they made this couple or whatever like. The James and his wife, their main character, at the very beginning of this movie, they meet this couple who are supposed to be fans of his work, of his writing. So they go out and have fun with each other because he's trying to find inspiration. They asked him, it's been 6 years since his last book. that was mentioned in the movie. And she said, "Oh, hi, you're gonna go fuck around with your fans or whatever." And he's like, "Well, I gotta be somewhere, right?" Meaning, like, he was like...
Yeah, he wasn't, like, at this point, very well known at all.
Yeah, he was like... Yeah, so he was like... He essentially was saying, "I don't really have fans." So it's like... So you get to this point, and so they go to this, like, beach, I guess, like, you know, where the water... It wasn't really like a beach, but they go off to this water, and they're eating sausages, buffalo sausages.
Yeah.
And so he goes to take a piss. It was so weird. After he takes a piss, the other girl, who's not his wife, just comes up behind him and starts jacking him off.
Yeah, Goth.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like, first of all, where did that come from? It was just not initiated, like, had nothing to do with the story. Like, even, I get the fact that they were all very sexual and they had these big orgies or whatever.
I think that's the extent of it.
Yeah.
I think that's the extent of it, because I was thinking there was so much sexual, psychedelic activity going on in the hallucinations and stuff. Yeah. Like, I was almost like, is that, like, an assertion of dominance, like...
For her?
Yeah.
Because she was definitely the dominant one.
To show, like, hey, she's controlling this. But it's just wild, like, that I feel like was shock factor. Shock factor off rip. That's what she's gonna do.
But just for me, like...
Also very violent. Very graphic.
Yeah, they did show him come. So that was...
It was interesting.
Yeah, Hannah was like, "Ew, what the fuck?" I was like, "Yo, it's just lotion. Calm down." Like,
yeah, but it was still
to
see on the screen.
Yeah.
I think this movie was supposed to be.
That's not a porn video, right? Like, yeah, and and she just walks off, like nothing happened.
Yeah. And he's like scarred. When he's driving, and that's what he's like can't comprehend.
It's just so weird. Like, it's like a thing. Like, I guess that was the starting point, right? To get him to be part of their group. But then, like, another thing happens when they get into bed and they like, okay, I'm gonna pay, and he's like, "I can't find my passport," which we find out later that he was just hiding it. He did have it this whole time, like, because he's like, when he watched himself get killed.
Yeah.
At the end of it, he smiled. Like, he had like a really sinister smile. Like, he was like enjoying it. And then there were things that really bugged me about it, because for me, if my wife is telling me to go, if my wife, like, so they get in bed and he's like, "I can't find my passport." And then he's like, "All right, I'm going to go ask the receptionist for help. See if she can help me." He knew his passport. Like, at that point, we didn't know his passport was actually, was just hidden. But he goes downstairs, and I wrote this down, like, in one of my notes. I was like, that bitch is going to be downstairs waiting for him. Yeah. I knew.
Which is wild, because I was like, that can't be coincidence.
Yeah. I knew she was going to be down there. And so, this is the thing that pissed me off, was, "Come have a drink with me." Why? You're going to try to do everything in your power to leave, right? Like, that's what you want to do. You don't want to be part of this anymore.
Yeah. I think he was enticed by the fan piece. I think that was, like, they really hammered home the broke writer thing. Yeah. If you're a broke writer that has had a one-hit wonder or whatever that he
Even the wife was like, he married rich, meaning, like, I'm rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so she's like, I just, like, found the first, like, broke writer that spilled a drink on me, was like her comment.
Yeah.
Because that must have been what happened, like filling in the blanks of their date.
And her dad was like, and she mentioned her dad, like, "I don't want to, like, don't marry a writer," or whatever, right? And so...
Because she's from, like, a publishing company, like her family has a publishing company or something.
So I'm like, yo. So she's like, "Go have a drink." I'm like, "Yo, your wife's fucking in bed waiting for you." I would never leave Hannah. Like,
yeah, that's also the wild part. It's like he got so soaked into the experience that he was like, "Oh, well, maybe, like, it's a build of the entire film," I feel like, where he's like slowly taking steps forward, baby steps forward, as being enticed by Mia Goth and her group, taking slow steps forward, and each time I feel like he's dying off and being cloned, and we're trying to figure out if that's...
It's like the real person, or if it's him.
And you're losing, like, little pieces of yourself, and then you're like, well, this still doesn't feel real anyway, so I might as well, like, indulge a little more. Like, this is just an experience.
I love that part of the movie.
Yes.
Is that not knowing, like, that part of the movie is dope. Like, I love not knowing, because that's scary, right? Yeah. Like, if that happened to you, like, I don't know.
Yeah, if you don't... I think that's where the movie excels, is... Mia Goth, and I did enjoy Alexander Skarsgård as James Foster.
The acting's good. They did what they could with the writing.
But you're not looking for, like, strong like performances that are going to take the movie over. You just need an ensemble of characters that are all experiencing the same thing in different ways.
Yeah,
I feel like.
And I just wanted to feel.
Yeah.
During the movie, which I couldn't feel because I just felt like it was just so.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the word for it, but I just couldn't get into it. Like with my heart, and
it blurs the lines throughout the entire movie, and that's where it tries to excel, is like having the lines blurred.
Yeah.
Which works for some people, and some people want no clear answer. Some people want to be like you want to be grabbed and brought in.
Exactly.
This one like kind of tugs at you a little.
And I'm like, and then you try to pull start to get there, and then it pulls you right back up. It's like this when you get to like the part.
You get a 10-minute sex hallucination.
Yeah.
Scene.
Or like, and then like another thing I found so weird was like, I don't know if this was like if Mia or Gabby in the movie had some sort of like piss fetish. Like, not well seriously, because at the beginning he went to go pee and she jacked him off, and then in the middle of her introducing him to her friends, he goes to the bathroom, and this pissed me off, was when he was in the bathroom, he gets a call from his wife, and he just ignores it. He looks at it and he ignores it. It's like, if anything at this point, you are like, you only have you and your wife at this point. Like, you have to, like, that's all you have.
Yeah, what's crazy is this movie also feeds into the aspect that we've seen in other films that like people can be so rich and have experienced so many good things throughout their life that they need something extreme to feel like any pleasure.
Yeah,
and how I felt.
I wonder, like, it was just a weird thing. She followed him to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, why is she always following him while he's got to go to the bathroom? It was like, I don't know if that's like, that was like on purpose. It could have been.
Could have been. So
you know,
with the little bit left for the third act of our episode, what did you not really like about this? I know you alluded to it a little bit. We've kind of talked good about it for a little bit too.
I just think the whole story as a whole doesn't work together. I think there was just a lot of like, and it could be because I only watched it once. It might be one of those things where I watch it a second or third time, and you think you see everything start to make sense. But after our first watch, it wasn't captivating. Just when I want to be invested in a character. That's like something you want as a fan, like as a movie watcher. That's what gets you going, right? Is like the fact that you're invested, and that's what keeps your heart pounding. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not, you're taken out of the part of like suspending your disbelief. Yeah. Because you're just not in it anymore, right? Yeah. So that's like, and that's another thing too. Another thing with it too is just like where it makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like when I try to write, this is a thing that we have every Thursday right now. Like we have film meetings and we talk. We just want it to make sense. Yeah. Like another thing, like just like in Nope. Okay, you see Kiki and she sees that thing. She goes, "Nope." That's a very real thing that happens. Like in real, like you say shit like that. Like
you also could have the people though that like want to learn. Like that's the thing is like it's the characters work in that way. In Nope. Yeah. You also may have characters that want to dive in and figure out what it is, send out a tweet, I just saw this, filmed it. Yeah. So you have two different sides of the spectrum, but I understand what you mean.
Which is, that's another thing too, right? Because that's what like was cool about Texas Chainsaw, was like this guy was killing people, and obviously in our time now, you see people recording, and in the bus of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the guy was recording like the killings happen.
Which people would do nowadays.
Yes. Exactly.
If something like that was happening on like a bus that they were on, they would probably like there are people that would pull on the phone.
So, and just to get at it, man, just as a whole, like I didn't really enjoy it that much. I wasn't scared. I wasn't invested. Writing was okay. The acting was great for what you could do. You can it's hard to blame actors for writing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. As for the acting. Yeah. But
like you enjoyed the characters.
Yeah. It's just even though I enjoyed that, it was hard to really get into. Yep. What about you?
So
sorry, I've been rambling this whole
time.
No,
it's good. It's good because we had a lot of discussions before this when we prepped for these episodes, and we bounced ideas back and forth. Some stuff is genuine back and forth that we've never heard each other say.
Yeah.
But then there's stuff that we're like, hey, what did you think about this? Like, I'm trying to still wrap my head around this. Which this movie felt like a constant me trying to wrap my head around, which is sometimes a good thing. In this one, I am fine with interpretive horror in the fact that that is something that if I experienced, I would be scared. I do see elements of that here. It just didn't grasp me to the point that I knew enough to say, yeah, if that was to happen to me, like the cloning thing is scary. But other than that, this movie wasn't very scary. Didn't rope me in, like you were saying. Like I felt the same way. It didn't really pull me in. The actors and actresses I was excited to watch over and over.
Yeah.
So when they were on screen, like I was excited for that part of it. But I struggled with fully wrapping my head around the whole movie. And I know, like I said, I think it works well when it's blurred within. Took me the whole movie and some change to figure out fully what was happening. But I expected more when I originally was anticipating this movie.
Yeah.
I see where they were going with the horrors outside of the legal parameters, the horrors in a psychedelic experience, the horrors of seeing yourself killed, and you possibly being a clone. That's where it did well. There wasn't just...
Where did they...
just struggle.
Where did they keep getting clones of him?
Like, they had his DNA after the first one.
Because like the people, like the people he's part of, like not the cops, right? But like when they thought he was beating the shit out of the cop, they tricked him, and he was beating the shit out of himself.
Yeah,
like
they were playing a joke on him. They were like, "Oh, we thought like there'd be a funny prank that you were beating up your own clone."
Yeah,
like that someone had to have been involved to an extent. And then Mia Goth just comes in and she tries to like. There was actually a good bit of humor in here that you look back on, where she's like, "Oh, come on, we'll go get a clone and." You and him can both fuck me, and like that's what she said. Like,
she was like, "You never had that before."
So this movie kept throwing haymakers that you weren't ready for, but they were like they added confusion on my end. There were haymakers that like just made me a little more confused.
I like the part where you don't know, right? That's cool. Like I do want to know.
Yeah, it's I like want to know where I end up. But I feel like here it like got us there, and then like we kind of figured out where we ended up, but at the same time, we didn't get a full conclusion. Like we have our interpretation of what happened.
Yeah, and this might be one of those films where if we watch it a second or third time, we might appreciate more. But for me, watching it initially one time, like I really can't say in my heart that I liked it.
Yeah, that's fair. That's completely fair.
Yeah.
So with that being said. On these episodes, we always do a pillar point system rating, rated out of 5. We go to halves. Sometimes we do quarters if we're feeling frisky. But Justin,
I'm a 2.
What do you? You're not going to add any commentary to that. You're just going to throw it out there.
I'm a 2.
2 out of 5.
Because I really was only invested in like the acting there.
Yep.
You know, that's the acting was great this off of our point system. That's like hold on, let me see.
But that's a fair thought compared to your thoughts that you've had during this episode and like what you've said. I feel like 2 out of 5 mirrors those points.
Yeah.
Like the little bit that you said that you enjoyed.
It's just the acting because, like I said, you know, I wasn't scared. Terror factor is one of our things. It's not a scary movie.
Yeah.
The cohesiveness for us, like it really wasn't glued together initially watching, but that could change after if we decided to watch a second or third time. Acting was great. They did what they could with the movie.
Yeah.
Emotional investment. We talked about this earlier. I really couldn't.
Yep.
I really couldn't find. Like I didn't find my heart in the movie.
And you know when Justin's emotional.
Yeah. And the storyline was like it was unique, which is why I gave that part of a point because I'd never seen this type of film where they clone and like whatever it is based off of that. So
yeah. I'm gonna go 2.5.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2.5. I can't see myself giving it a 3. Just from the fact that it wasn't very scary. I appreciate what was being done in this movie. It's not my cup of tea. There's very few movies that I enjoy in this realm. And that's nothing to knock the type of film it is, the type of horror movie it is, the style and everything. It's just not something that really caters to what I enjoy.
Yeah.
However, I really enjoyed Mia Goth. Alexander Skarsgård was great. I thought the ensemble of characters was really well done. Thought the stuff that was supposed to make you think worked, even though there was a piece of confusion on a lot of the stuff that happened. And like the transitions between stuff, like that could have been cleaner in my opinion. I know that's maybe what they were going for. and that everything felt like a blended like psychedelic horror that's happening at once to James. Just something I couldn't really like you said, I couldn't really like grasp into, couldn't really dive into, couldn't really relate and say, oh, I'm so enticed on what's happening here. So I'm giving it a 2.5 purely because I enjoy asking these questions. I enjoy like not knowing some stuff. I enjoy not feeling so smart that I know exactly what happened. I know everything about the film. I enjoy that it kept me on my toes. Wasn't very scary. Characters were good, but storyline was kind of here and here. There was a linear storyline, but it was obviously bouncing all over the place to keep you along that line. So that's my thoughts. 2.5 out of 5. I'd have to look back at all these ones I've rated and see where this falls compared to other ones. That's where you always get yourself in trouble.
Yeah.
What else did I rate at 2.5? What else did I rate at 3?
I don't know.
So
maybe Scream. I think
you probably gave that a 2.
But like like it's crazy too because at the beginning of this I was like watching the movie even though like the first thing you see is just a black screen and it's just them talking. But even after that, I was excited. Because it seemed very Ari Aster-esque. I don't know, and only because of one scene that was shot. I guess it was when they kept going upside down and circle.
At the beginning,
at the very beginning. Yeah. And it reminded me of like his transitions and his like.
That's the only time I know the rest of the stuff was so focused on like hallucination and images and cuts and flashing lights. So like we didn't get more of that stuff really. Like we did, but in the form of those psychedelic trip scenes. Yeah. So that's what we think. I hope a lot of y'all have watched this because I do feel like this was anticipated just based on who was in it and the fact that it was the timing of when it came out, being a horror movie, giving us something to watch in theaters. So let us know what y'all think about it. It's okay if it's not always your cup of tea to watch something, I feel like, and get exposed to something different, and this was freaking different. But I'm glad I watched it. I'm glad we were able to like dissect it and talk about it.
Me too. I mean, like, I'm always down to see horror movies. Just because I don't like it, it doesn't mean anything. We're not going to like everything that we watch.
Right.